Welcome to episode 29 of Drew's Baseball Crew here on this Saturday morning here. June 10th is the date. Let's build a winning lineup here on Fantasia Sports or wherever you're playing, right? But I recommend you come join me on Fantasia Sports, whether you're doing a contest, you're joining their new picks beta, or you're playing, just your standard contest DFS whatnot. So come join on Fantasia Sports. Link is in the description, but I hope you all are doing well. Last week, it's safe to say it was a very successful. Wow, it's early DFS day, right? DFS slate. We dominated Saturday, June 3rd on that. Had a Brewers Red stack going together. Scored a combined 18 runs in that one, I believe. So talk about taking advantage there. It was a very, very good week, a very, very good day there. We're now, right? That's in the past, though. We have to keep looking forward here, and that's what we're going to do here Saturday, June 10th. Right, we got a full slate of games. We have some studs going on the mound. We have Colorado in the mix here. The Padres at Colorado kind of gives us something to look at. Over under there right now, by the way, 12.5. And when I'm looking at these, I'm seeing 8s and 9s. So just to give you some context on what we're looking at, we're dealing with some interesting weather conditions. I usually go right away to the starting pitcher report, but I think I'm going to start here with Ballpark Pal. Very helpful here. We're going to look at what's going on in terms of runs created. Like, what are we looking at today with what ballpark? So, right, like Colorado's at an insane plus 34% change here for runs scored today. Incredible. Guaranteed rate field plus 10%. Chicago pretty favorable today. Also Oriole Park plus 8%. And then we go to plus 4% for Citizens and American Family Field there in Milwaukee. And to go to basically the worst one today is considered Busch Stadium, and that's mainly for home runs, but it's still only minus 6%. So the point is weather is favorable in general today. I think runs are going to be scored today. Runs are going to be, they're going to come today. So it makes it a little tougher on us maybe to find those pitchers, right? I mean, last week it was easy to find those pitchers, but it's gonna be tougher today. So we're gonna just need to be sharp on our reads and kind of move forward with that. But I'm ready for the starting pitcher report. So let's go right through it here. And starting up, we got, go to where we have some, we have some history where we can kind of base it off of. Michael Kopech has 24 plate appearances. He's pitched against the current Miami Marlins roster. XBA of 323 mainly. Right, Luis Arraez is in that mix though, with both of them in the AL Central last year. So a smaller sample size, but we're hoping for a Sandy Alcantara bounce back today. And as I told you, the hitting conditions are really favorable at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. So I don't know. I'm in two pitcher. Maybe you take him, but I say no. I say no today to Alcantara. So that's where I'm at. Miles Michaelis has not done so hot so far. I'm looking at Andrew Abbott. I know that they have a lot of right-handed hitters there in St. Louis, but what Abbott's done so far has been good. Granted, it was against the Brewers, who struggle against lefties. I know, trust me, look in the background. But Abbott has some interest. I'm hold off, but maybe. Joe Ryan today is going against the Toronto Blue Jays, and he's been very dominant this year. Although a pretty good hitting place in Rogers Center, certainly gotta like what you see from Ryan. He's a maybe right now. Ryan Weathers and Kyle Freeland. I'm worried this Colorado game's there's gonna be a lot of runs. I definitely am gonna have at least 4 players from this game. I think you have to on a day like this, and it's okay, well, you got to pick the right ones, but the xWOBA numbers against Freeland, 189 plate appearances, 374. K percentage only 11.6. People are putting the ball in play, and when you put the ball in play at Coors, off a guy like Kyle Freeland, the ball's flying. Exit velo numbers 91. we got a lot of work to do today. So here's a game I'm looking at: Mets Pirates. Kodai Senga, who's been pretty inconsistent so far this year, against Johan Oviedo, who's also been fairly inconsistent, but both when they're on have some of the filthiest stuff out of any right-handed starting pitcher we'll see. Well, the good news is we have some sort of sample size with Oviedo. 41 career plate appearances against, XBA of 212. K percentage pretty good. Exit velo, it's okay. So monitoring that, and we're seeing with Oviedo, could be a good play today. I would monitor him and Senga though. Dodgers, Phillies. We've kind of seen Nola struggle a little bit. The numbers are good though. In a career 216 plate appearances against, XBA of 240. Exit velos are under 90 miles per hour. You know, he's been a sure thing, but you know, recency not so much. So we're a little skeptical on Nola today, in my opinion. Bobby Miller against the Phillies though could be a very good matchup there for that Dodgers righty. So I'll go through more of those numbers in ballpark pal time. But Nathan Eovaldi's been dominant so far. He has great numbers against the current Tampa Bay Rays roster. He's one of my favorite plays today. He has the good numbers against. He's been good recently. It all kind of lines up here. XBA of 191 against, and then also xWOBA of 221 and 66 career plate appearances against. Love to see that. I did want to go kind of skip down here. I guess we have Mackenzie Gore versus Schuster. Not big sample sizes there for either guy. And I'm not really sure what I think about either of those two today. Paul Blackburn, Julio Teheran, monitoring that in terms of runs scored. I hope Teheran can keep it going. He limits soft contact. Both guys are not strikeout heavy, so that's going to be something to monitor today. Tristan McKenzie, look, he is on the thumbnail for a reason. Look at what he's done. He's been dominant so far. XBA of 226 against this current Houston Astros roster. I'm a big Tristan McKenzie fan, so but my point is the numbers also line up where he could be a good play today. The concern too is he only went 5 innings last time. Granted, he had 10 strikeouts, so the pitch count was up, but just monitoring with McKenzie how they plan to use him today. But I think he's a pretty safe bet today. I'm not interested in Kyle Hendricks or John Briba for the San Francisco Giants. But I am interested. Actually, I'm looking at Domingo Germán. He's been good this year. He's been solid. You know, there's no denying that. The numbers against this current Red Sox roster too are also solid. XBA of 210, xWOBA 265, K percentage of 26%. So that's where I've been monitoring. Are we taking Patrick Sandoval on a bounce back? It's my last one here against the Seattle Mariners roster. He has an XBA of 233, xWOBA of 309. So he's limited. He's limited also hard contact, 80 exit velo of 85. So average exit velo. So I'm looking at Sandoval, and I think he's could be someone we could be taking. You know, I know hasn't worked out as of late, but there's your starting pitcher report. But before we go any farther, I talked about Point Brewery last week. I didn't have a root beer available. Here we are. Point Brewery Diet Root Beer. Again, amazing taste. A nice vanilla add or on the side with it. It's incredible flavor. It's available, you know, if you're in Wisconsin, any of those stores. Otherwise, link down below if you want to buy wherever you are. But I'm telling you, Wisconsin breweries are the best, but Point Brewery takes the crown. It's incredible stuff. So check them out down below, and thank you to Point Brewery. Let's keep moving here. We got to talk through some hitting pitcher matchups. Who are guys who have great numbers for their careers and who are in great spots today, basically. So I feel like David Peralta always finds his way in this segment. I don't know why. Career versus Aaron Nola. He's a nice 5 for 9, no strikeouts. I mean, it's as simple as that. A decent sample size where he's performed. We're gonna watch too. Is Dylan Moore going to be in the lineup against Patrick Sandoval? 5 for 12 for his career with a homer. So Dylan Moore has had really good success off of Patrick Sandoval for his career. And these are some of the guys I like to use for to kind of make my stack, Um, and here's your Padres stack. It almost makes itself. Ha-Seong Kim for his career off of Kyle Freeland, 357 average, OPS over 1,000 for him. Very good numbers. And then going off of that, we have Fernando Tatis, who's got a home run and 3 walks to 2 strikeouts off of Freeland for his career. OPS around 1,100. Last one, Jake Cronenworth. His numbers are insane too. OPS though, this one's only around like 800, but good numbers for him. Cronenworth, Tatis, Ha-Seong Kim are the 3 I'm looking at for that stack right as at the moment. I'd love to look more into it. It's going to be interesting to monitor. Are the Brewers going to put Abraham Toro in the lineup today off Blackburn? He's had some good numbers off of him. His OPS for his career over 1,100. So maybe Toro gets a shot. Council often, might take into account some matchups there. So that's going to be one to monitor. There could be some runs put up in that one. I'm honestly very skeptical about Kyle Hendricks today. Also, I think Lamont Wade, who's been phenomenal this year, is a potential great option, and he's got some great numbers off of Kyle Hendricks for his career. In 7 plate appearances, he's got a full stat sheet: 2 walks, 1 strikeout, and a homer. So that's impressive stuff for Lamont Wade. We're looking at also Michael Conforto has very similar numbers to that as well. So certainly looking at those two. Rafael Devers, a guy who has dominated, right? Garrett Cole, for example, only 3 for 22 off of Domingo Germán with 9 strikeouts. So definitely no Devers today, it looks like, but monitoring that. Those are kind of the main ones I wanted to talk about. I guess I did have another one, Elias Diaz, who's been on fire. Has some really good numbers off Ryan Weathers, the starter there. So intrigued to see how that goes. Austin Riley is a great matchup. Mackenzie Gore is the pitcher, right? He crushes lefties. So definitely want to monitor that. Ryan McMahon's hot, and he has good numbers off Ryan Weathers on top of that. So it's going to be, like I said, there's going to be a lot of guys I'm looking at in that game. Lane Thomas has good numbers off of Jared Schuster for his career. So there's another one to look at. Right, there's a lot of good hitting matchups today. So to my point, it's going to be tough to find those pitchers to take here, but I think that's a good group. Also, Aaron Judge just casually is batting 500 off of Tanner Houck for his career, so makes it a little tougher here just to make our choices. But that's where I'm looking. In case you're wondering, right in terms of the batter hitter matchups here, or batter versus pitcher matchups. Going back to Ballpark Pal, I do want to talk through kind of like furthermore on the pitchers, who I'm looking at. I'll probably be taking, and then we'll kind of go through and then go talk about some of those stacks and just finalizing our lineup. And again, the pitchers who stand out to me, I mentioned Tristan McKenzie, certainly does today. Just that's why he's on the cover today. He's the thumbnail. Really like the upside from him today. I do like with Nathan Eovaldi as well. Look, this Texas offense has been hot, and that's kind of why, like Taj Bradley, I really love the upside today, but at the same time, I'm just nervous about that, just about how it'll go. I'm worried about Senga going high into games. He's allowed too many walks this year, so that's another one. But in 2 pitcher, I'm looking at like an Eovaldi, Bobby Miller kind of day, or Tristan McKenzie, and then one of those guys. Just with the weather, Kopech and Alcantara, the conditions are not favorable today enough where I would take either of those guys, unfortunately. I might take Senga and then go take like McKenzie I feel like I'm chasing upside there, but I feel like Evaldi's probably one of the safest guys out there today. I honestly do. I think he is my favorite bet to give you a quality start today. Just based on, going deep into games, what we've seen from him. He's been consistent. So I think Evaldi's gonna be my guy, and then just chasing, take McKenzie with him, take Senga, take Taj Bradley, take Bobby Miller, take one of those guys with him. It's kind of my advice today. Um, But going through, looking at the hitters, right? What are the best matchups today, including weather and all? That's what Ballpark Pal will give us. And I took shocker, Colorado, San Diego. That's what we're looking at. And there's just a lot of guys who stand out. And I kind of went through like some of the condition stuff as well. The model, right, of Ballpark Pal really likes Trent Grisham today, which is interesting as matchup numbers aren't as favorable as some other guys. But I'm looking at like Ha-Seong Kim, Fernando Tatis. I talked about my stack there. I'd like that. I also like Lane Thomas today. So kind of what I'm looking at is like with my stack. So going to San Diego, the stack is really like which it's interesting. I would take Cronenworth there. They're both like in the middle of the bottom of the order. We don't know if Bogarts is going to be in the lineup today, so I think Tatis could bat leadoff potentially. But my point is, Cronenworth and Kim are going to be in the bottom of the order. It's going to roll over nicely to Tatis, is kind of the idea of that three-man stack. Then I'm looking at like two guys potentially from Colorado, for sure looking at Elias Diaz. And then I'm looking at like Ryan McMahon too. So those guys in the middle of the order there. I'd be willing to take 5 guys from that game. I said 4 earlier. I'm going to say 5 now. I think that what we're going to get is going to be, too good to pass up for sure. So that's where I'm looking at. And then looking at like some other guys to just plug in the lineup. Lane Thomas is a good example. I'm on Christian Yelich right now. I think what he's done has been underrated. Yesterday was a tough night though, but Yelich is going to be a guy who I'm certainly going to be giving some looks to on Saturday. Going through more on the model side, right? If you do want to take a Met potentially, they do have Mark Vientos or Daniel Vogelbach even as good values today in Pittsburgh. So you can monitor those guys. I'm not sure if I would do that, but Dylan Moore was another one who I talked about plugging in. The model agrees with me on that. So those are some of the main guys I'd be looking at. I already gave you your catcher and Diaz, so we should be all covered there. That should build out your winning lineup. And good luck to you all today. Let's win DFS here on Saturday, June 10th. So that's gonna wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg. I'm gonna be live again tomorrow on the Wisconsin Sports Show. So go check that out, Drew Sports Crew. That's gonna wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg, here on this Saturday morning. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.